Hello everyone and welcome back to Beatles channel. Lovely to have you here. Thanks for joining me for this video and I hope you're all doing well. In today's video I want to talk about the 2025 Beatles Anthology Docu-series. The last 3 episodes dropped this morning, Friday the 28th of November. That's episodes 7, 8 and 9. I've now watched the whole thing, 3 episodes a day. I found it an absolute breeze to get through 3 episodes in a day. I got up early this morning and watched the last 3. So I want to talk about the series on a whole. I'm not going to go into great detail. I'm not going to go, I don't want to give you a load of spoilers if you haven't watched it yet. So I'm just going to be talking, mostly in general terms. I might talk a little bit more about episode 9 because I think that's what people are quite excited about. I'm going to talk about that, but I'm going to talk about it in more general terms. Now one thing that's been happening since the first episode dropped on Wednesday are people losing their shit about the fact that the episodes on Disney Plus are shorter than they were on the DVD on YouTube. People making videos without actually watching it, and people on Facebook groups. I saw one bloke, he said, "I'm so upset about it, I'm so angry about it." Grow up. There's a good reason why they are shorter, and that is because the episodes on the DVDs, each DVD had 2 episodes on it, were about 10 to 15 minutes longer than what went out on TV, and a lot of it was fluff. And yes, there have been some cuts made on the Disney Plus thing, but they have also added bits that weren't on the original TV show and were not on the DVD as well. So it's kind of swings and roundabouts. You're getting some bits you haven't seen before, but you're losing a few bits that are on it. Now, when they went out on TV, ABC in the US and ITV in the UK, both of those are commercial channels. Now, I can't speak for ABC, but in the UK, ITV shows that were billed for being an hour long, once you took the ad breaks out, we had 2 ad breaks in the 90s. Now we get 3 ad breaks in an hour-long show on ITV. Back in the 90s, it was 2 ad breaks. So the actual episode was about sort of just under 50 minutes to maybe 51 minutes long, something like that. Now I've got the timings for the episodes on Disney Plus, and we've got episode 1 62, episode 2 53, episode 3 59, episode 4 53, episode 5 54, episode 6 57, episode 7 59, episode 8 52, and episode 9, the shortest of them all, at 50. But all of those are longer than what went out on TV, and the reason that they put extra stuff on these DVDs is because I expect, like you, I recorded all the episodes on video on VHS and watched them to death while we waited for the official VHS, and then later the DVD to arrive. So they had to give us something on here to make us wanna buy it, and that's why. But like I say, it was mainly fluff. Now what's happened, the edit that they've done on for the Disney Plus version has just made these episodes much tighter. We've got some extra material, but they're tighter, they're fast paced, and they work really well. I think it flows beautifully. Now they've also changed some scenes around in the running order in the episodes as well. You'll notice that. I must admit, I haven't actually watched Anthology for at least a decade. I can't remember. I can't remember what bits were there and what bits were added bits on here and what bits went out on telly. And I haven't got my VHSs that I recorded off the telly anymore. But yeah, the editing is really important because it makes it much stronger. You've all heard the saying, less is more, and it's very true with this sort of thing, that the fluff is stripped out and the good stuff is there, and it's much tighter. So that is why the episodes are shorter. Now I know there are going to be things that are missing that people are not going to be happy about, but it's, some people are of the opinion, give us everything. It's kind of carnival of light syndrome. But, I really do think that quality over quantity is an important thing. And this new release, this new reboot of Anthology is telling the story for a new generation. And, it's the same. It was the same back in the 90s. That was being told for a new generation as well. And, these days, instant gratification is everything. That's why, platforms like TikTok are so popular with young people, because it's bang, 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 bang. But the first thing I'm going to say about this new release is the picture quality is stunning. It's high definition pictures. The sound, the remastering of the sound is absolutely amazing. It's 5.1. Got 5.1 system, and it sounded fantastic. Playing it on my TV. And really enjoyed most of it. But the picture quality, the sound quality, the improvements are astonishing. Really, really good. A lot of people also saying, I'm not paying for a subscription for Disney Plus. Don't want anything to do with them. But if you do want to watch it, because I don't think there's going to be a Blu-ray release anytime soon. There might be, sometime down the line. I don't know exactly what Apple's deal with Disney is, but it could be sometime. If you just want to watch it, you can subscribe to Disney Plus for 1 month, watch it, and then cancel your subscription. In the UK, that'll cost you about £8, probably about $8 in the US, something like that. So you can do that. Now, I was sent a video of the first 4 minutes of episode 1, and in that video it compares the 2025 version with the 2023 DVD, and honestly the difference is stunning. I'm going to show you some screen grabs that I did from that in a minute. Thanks very much, Andy, for sending me that. But if you're not going to subscribe to Disney Plus and not going to watch this, maybe this might persuade you to do it. So I'm going to show you a few screen grabs. Let's do that now. The top picture is the 2025 version. The bottom picture is the 2003 DVD, and you'll really notice the difference. So big thumbs up to Peter Jackson's team for the work that they've done on improving the visuals on this. You've noticed from those clips that the stuff from the 90s, or the more modern stuff, is now in with us, in widescreen on a 16:9 ratio, and the vintage, the archival stuff is still in 4:3 format. But DVD back in 2003 was a fairly new format. It was an upgrade from VHS, but now comparing it with this, it looks absolute pants, doesn't it? It just doesn't look good at all, and DVD, as we know, is a pretty much dead format now. But some of the stuff that has been cut, as I say, a lot of it is superfluous. Things like when they're talking about the other bands in Liverpool, and the tired old sort of Max Show story, and that sort of thing. Also, when the Beatles are talking about their influences, some of that has been cut as well. Some of it is still there. Jerry Lee Lewis, Elvis, obviously, Little Richard's still there, but some of the other artists, that has gone. But there's one bit in episode 1 that has gone, which I wish was still there. And that's the story that Paul tells about them getting on a bus going over to the other side of Liverpool to meet this bloke who they've heard, they don't know for a fact, but they've heard he knows E7, the chord E7, and so they get on the bus and go over to the other side of Liverpool, meet this bloke, so he can teach them E7. I think that is a great story. We've heard Paul tell it loads of times over the years, but I wish it was still here for the new generation seeing this for the first time, because it's a great story. Other things that are a little bit disappointing is, some of the live performances have been cut. The Royal Variety performance is one thing that I noticed has been cut. It's just down to the twist and shout and the rattle your jewellery thing, which is a bit of a shame. It's really difficult for me to remember what was in the original and what's in this one, what the differences are, because I haven't got my VHSs anymore, so I don't know, and I haven't got the time to go through all of these and do a comparison. But some of the things that do stick out in my mind, those are a couple of things. When we talk about the sound quality, now I'm not going to talk too much about the sound, because I'm going to be talking about the remastering job when I talk about the albums, and there's a review coming of that next week. It's taken me a bit of time to put that together, because I wanted to watch this stuff, but that'll be coming next week. But what a job Giles Martin has done with the remastering of this. Really, really good. Really, really good. Some of his best work, I think. And you'll notice on the live performances, the level of the screaming is much lower in the mix, so we hear more of the band. That's the kind of changes that we want. So that's really good. So congratulations to Giles on that. I got into episode 1 really quickly, and as soon as I started watching it, it just took me right back to the 90s and watching Anthology for the first time, and I loved it. And the episode just seemed to whiz by, and at the end of it I was just thinking, well, where did that hour go? Bring on the next one, which was exactly what I did. But these days, when a series that I want to watch is on TV, I have to wait for all the episodes to drop. I call it Netflix-itis, but when it's on terrestrial TV, I have to wait for all the episodes to drop before I start watching, just in case there's like a cliffhanger at the end of an episode and I haven't got the next one. So I couldn't do that with this. I had to wait until Thursday to get the next 3, and then today to get the last 3. But there are a few niggles. One of the things that I was not that happy about was, I can't remember whether it's episode 3 or episode 4 now, but the one that covers the first US tour. There was so much stuff included in Anthology that we saw only last year in Beatles 64, and the thrill of watching this again is that I can't remember it, so it all felt fresh and it all felt new. But obviously Beatles 64 was only last year, and did they have to include quite so much from that when it was only on last year? I mean, even for the young generation, would have watched Beatles 64 as well. So I didn't really see the point of including quite so much of that stuff. Important though it is to the story, we've got a separate film for that, and we only watched it last year. So that was one thing. Another thing that was a little bit of a shame was, pretty much all of the live material has been greatly improved, both visually and the audio of it as well. The stuff from the Budokan in 1966 wasn't that great. It wasn't that great. I'd be really, really surprised if we ever get that in its entirety, or get it as released as an album or anything like that. I mean, Shea Stadium looked great, sounded great as well. I just love those. I love those scenes, John and George, where they're just having such a laugh, and it's great. There has been a little bit of wokey pokey, okey cokey wokey pokey stuff done to some of this. I can't even remember if there was that much that needed wokifying, to be honest. I mean, there's still plenty of talk about drugs in it. That's okay. But yeah, there was a few edits of some language that may not be appropriate in this day and age. But generally, I just thought it was great all the way through, and really, really enjoyed it. And I do think, because I'm a kind of a later period person. I do think that the episodes kind of get better as they go along, sort of thing, or more interesting. Anyway, I love the bits where you've got George, Paul, and Ringo telling the same story, completely different. Like they've all got different memories of it, or the bits where they refer to the other one. You'll have to ask George that, and George will say, "Oh, I don't remember. You'll have to ask George Martin." And then you get like George Martin going, like that sort of stuff. There's lots of funny moments in it. There's lots of really great stuff of just the Beatles getting on and recording and seeing these embryos of songs being created, and just really, 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 really enjoyable. Okay, as I say, I'm not going to do too many. Not going to do spoilers, but I do want to talk about episode 9. Before we get on to episode 9, just a quick reminder to please remember to give the video a like, because it really does help the channel and helps my videos get out to more people, and I'd really appreciate you doing that. We talked about ads on ITV a bit earlier on. If you're watching this channel for the first time and you're not subscribed, you may have noticed you've not seen any ads so far. That's because I don't allow ads to be shown mid-roll on my videos, and never will. So that's a good reason to subscribe. So please consider supporting the channel by subscribing. Love to have you along for the ride. Okay, let's talk about episode 9. Now, I'm going to be absolutely honest here, and I didn't have great expectations for episode 9. I had a feeling that it was going to be quite a lot of stuff that was included on the special features disc in this set, and so it came to pass. I did do a video the other day where I kind of got a heads up email about what was going to be in episode 9, and if you missed that video, I'll put an end card at the end of this one, you can watch it. But it did turn out to be exactly as I said. So there's a lot of stuff in here. I was hoping episode 9 would be all Paul, George and Ringo working on the 3 new songs, Free as a Bird, Real Love and Now and Then. There was some of that, hardly anything on Now and Then. So, I was disappointed about that. So my low expectations were met with episode 9. I mean, if you haven't got this, you're going to love episode 9, because there's loads of great interview stuff in there, and it was an enjoyable watch. But I'm just all the time I'm thinking, show me something new. And one of the things that I did in preparation for doing this video is, I said earlier I didn't have time to watch all of these to compare them. I did watch the special features just to remind myself what was included on it, because I felt like some of it was going to be included in episode 9, and it was. There's some interesting information. Really this whole thing came about because Neil Aspinall, he got in touch with them and said, look, let's get back to this project that sort of started in 1970. And it was interesting hearing the story about how George had considered having a fictional Elvis Presley join the Travelling Wilburys when Roy Orbison died. And he says in this, Elvis's people were really into the idea, thought it was really good, but in the end, George decided it was a little bit too cheesy and didn't go ahead with it. But when he told Yoko that story, she said, "Well, I've got these tapes of John," and sort of Paul was sent to be the messenger and get the tapes and everything. And obviously you get the story about, the difficulties that they had. He said that Jeff Lynne spent about 2 weeks trying to clean up Free as a Bird, and I think that they enjoyed working on that probably the most, because it wasn't a complete song, a bit like Now and Then, whereas Real Love was a complete song, and therefore with Free as a Bird they had more license to add their own input to it, whereas with Free as a Bird, they're really to pad out the arrangement. There was some interesting stuff in it. I like the bit at the very beginning of it, where you've got just Ringo sitting on a chair at Abbey Road waiting to be interviewed, and you've got Paul behind him on the drum kit, and he's tapping away, and Ringo sort of turns round to him and said, "What have I told you? What have I told you?" And then he says, "You can't get the bugger off these things," and that sort of thing. And then it sort of cuts to Free as a Bird playing, and Paul and Ringo and George are now in front of the camera, and speaking to Jules Holland, who carried out the interviews. We see a clip of the original Hello Goodbye video, I think that's kind of to let the new generation that the now and then video, that this is the video that it features. That's where they've taken, George and John from it. And, there's a little bit of lamenting, Paul is sitting there, and there's an empty chair, and he said, "Look, there's an empty chair here where John should have been." But one thing that I did notice, not in episode 9, but throughout the whole series, it felt like John was more there than he was in the 90s. I think they've used more clips of John in it, both just audio ones and ones where he's actually on camera and stuff like that. It felt like John was not on the sidelines. He was more integral to the whole project, which is a great improvement that they've made with this. I think I really appreciated that we had more John than we did back in the 90s. I don't think I'm imagining that. As I say, I can't remember the original one that well, as it's so long since I watched it, but it felt like John was there, with the other three much more, when contributing to various topics that they were talking about throughout the whole series. Okay, that's it. I'm going to just let you go and watch it now. I say, I did enjoy it. If I've got to give it a mark, I would say it's a good solid 8.5 out of 10. I did really enjoy it, and having the visuals and the audio as they are on this is just such a massive improvement. So if you are going to watch it, I really hope that you enjoy it. Don't let the niggles outweigh the positives, because there are a lot of positives here. Okay, thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you all very soon. Bye bye.